Hi everyone, this is Russell with Jig Pro Shop. Today I'm here to introduce our new Easy Assist Former Mandrel. We made these mandrels because we went through such a steep learning curve ourselves when we were trying to make certain types of Turk's head knots and Woggle knots, and there's just so many out there. There's globe knots, nested Byte knots, Costa, herringbone, gaucho, headhunters, just the pineapple. The list just goes on and on and on. And we realized what an overwhelming learning curve there was for a lot of people to tie these complicated knots. So what we've done is we've come up with a mandrel here. We've tried to make these difficult knots just incredibly simple so that just about anybody could tackle them. We're going to be making these mandrels in several different knot variations for different knots to tie, and also in several different diameters, so that all the way from 3/4 inch in diameter. So if you're working on, say, fishing rods or items of very small diameter, you can successfully tie a decorative knot on it. Or the 1-inch mandrel that we've got here today, I am going to show you real quickly, or as quickly as I can. We put a wrap on a mini mag light with this, and we're going to have an 1.5 inch, a 2-inch, a 2.5, and a 3-inch. The 1.5 inch would be for like axes or hammer handles or walking sticks and things of that nature. The 2-inch, like say a full-size mag light or a tennis racket handle, just anything cylindrical. Even you can even make a modified monkey fist with a Turk's head knot. But anyhow, to get things kicked off, this is our mandrel. They're about a little under 12 inches in length. We make them right here in the United States, proudly made in the United States, right here in Florida by Jig Pro Shop. And now you don't need, we try to eliminate the need for instructions or textbooks and all the information for these complicated knots just by putting the information directly on the mandrel. So what I'm going to do to get started and show you just how simple these are to use, I've got, for this particular knot, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to make a handle for this mini mag light. You can see I actually marred it up here. I was trying to get the batteries out of it. But anyhow, I just wanted to cover that up, and I want to have an extra little amount of cord to carry with me when I'm carrying this flashlight. We all know how handy paracord comes in. I'm going to be using 550 paracord. I've got 3 different colors that are 6 feet long, so approximately 18 feet of ungutted 550 paracord. The color I'm going to get started with first is a dark blue. And to show you how to use this mandrel, first thing I did was I looked at the diameter of the mag light, and I matched it with the diameter, the closest diameter that's bigger than in the mandrel size. So you can see the mandrel is slightly larger than the diameter of the handle that I'm going to be wrapping here. Whether it's an axe or a hammer handle or a walking stick, whatever you do, you want to make sure that the diameter of what you're going to wrap is going to be slightly smaller than the mandrel that you're going to use. And I'm going to take this, well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these split pins. Each mandrel will come with these split pins. And the reason we chose these split pins is because if you've ever used a mandrel before, you know that eventually these pins will become loose in the hole. The holes will become wallered out from use. And with the split pin, you can actually take a pair of pliers or a screwdriver and open them up a little bit, creating a gap in between the two metals so that they'll have to be compressed, and that will hold them tightly in the hole. But anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and fill in this first row here. Then I'm going to hold this mag light up to the mandrel. See approximately how big do I want my wrap to be. And I think I want it to come down from this pin up here to about this length, which will cover at least 2/3, maybe 3/4 of my mag light. So I'm going to put my next row of pins at about this length. You know what, I think I'm even going to shorten that up just one more. Now you can see when I hold the mag light up here that this knurled part of the mag light is just a little bit further apart than the pins that I put inside the mandrel. Now each mandrel will have a rubber band on the top, and what we're going to do is we're just going to lift the rubber band and put some cord through it. And all that's to do is to hold the cord in place so we can get started tying this knot. Okay, and I'm going over top of the first pin. Now all you have to do, this is just so simple, is follow the lines on the mandrel. And see, I'm laying that right on top of that line to the next pin down here. Then instead of continuing on, I'm just bringing it back up. Now you'll notice there's little bars on here. I'm going to show you what these bars are what we call stop bars. Right here, here, here. And what that means is when you get to whenever you're crossing a chord, you're going to look for a stop bar. And you're going to see if there's no line in the crossbar, like there is right here, that means that the cord on top goes straight through. So as we can see here, this cord is on top, so it's going to go straight through. We're not going to go under it. In other words, we're going to go on top of it because the lines went through. There's no stop bars there where these two lines connect. So I'm going to continue on down here. Now when we get here, next time it comes in contact with itself, you see there's a stop bar, and what that means is that we need to go underneath the cord here. So what I'm going to do is I use a FID, by the way, guys. These are I can't stress to you enough how important it is to use the right tools and how much easier it makes the job. These are going to make this job so much easier. I highly recommend that you get at least a minimum of one of these for working. If you're working with several cords, you may need more than one. But anyhow, when I get to that, I'm just going to go under. So I'm going to slip that FID under. I'm going to pull this cord through. And I'm just going to continue on that same line that we're on until we get to the next split pin. Then again, we come up, and again, you can see there's stop bars here. So that means we're going to go under. And I'm just going to continue the same pattern over and over and over until we get back to our starting point again. And our starting point is going to be right up here. But eventually, if we continue on this path that we're going on, this one's going to go over. Then when we get here, this one is also going to go over. We're going over here. Now we're going to start going under. Okay, there we go. But anyhow, I'm going to come back in a few minutes. I'm going to continue on this, keep doing what I'm doing until I get to the beginning, and we'll pick back up there. Okay, so now I've completed the first pass of the 550 chord, and all I did was simply follow the pattern that's already on the mandrel. And when I got to a stop bar, I knew that when I ran into a chord with a stop bar, I needed to go under the chord that it ran into. Or if I get to a, if there isn't a stop bar, you go over the chord. It's pretty simple. Once you make one of these, just all of our mandrels will be the same. Once you make one knot on one mandrel, you'll be able to use any of our mandrels using these same principles. So it doesn't matter what type of knot it is, the principles will all remain the same. So I've gone around the complete mandrel, as you can see, just laying it right on top of the lines that are on here, and following the instructions of the stop bar, whether go over or under the chord that I run into every time that the two chords cross. Now what I'm going to do is like I said in the beginning, I've got 3 different colored chords here. So I'm going to start now with a different color chord, basically following the same pattern that we've already created on this mandrel. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce another color. Like I said in the beginning, we've got 3 6-foot lengths of paracord here, and you can do this all in the same color, but not only is it easier to work with shorter chords on this type project, but I personally like the looks of it better when there's more than one color in this type of knot. So you see I just put that underneath the rubber band just to hold it in place while we work, and all I'm going to do is follow and do the same thing that the chord below it. Let me see if I can get something pointed out. You see this, the dark blue cord here. I'm going to run this gray cord right next to this blue cord all the way around, and whenever I get to a junction where two pieces of cord meet, I'm going to do whatever the blue cord did, so that you can see that it's underneath here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take our fid, pull it underneath. I'm going to pull this through. Okay, there we go. And there we are. Now it goes over, and I'm just going to go around and around and around, following the blue cord. There we go, straighten out the cord. And it goes over, the blue cord's over, so I'm over, and it goes under again. And again, this is just a time-consuming process, so I'm not going to bore you to death with this. I'm going to go ahead and complete this this wrap until, again, I'm going to finish right where I began eventually, and then I'll introduce a third color. Okay, so now you can see we've successfully completed our second pass with the gray cord on top of the blue cord, and all I did was follow the existing pattern that was already in place, and when two cords came together, if the blue one went under, then I went under with the gray one, and just followed that same pattern right on around. You see here, and it just, you know, weaves up and down, just doing the same thing the blue one did. And you see our knots coming together nicely. It's starting to look like something here. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce the third color, and we'll come back when I get started, and then again when it's completed. We'll take it from there. Okay, so the third color we're going to introduce here is this coyote brown. And if you remember, originally the blue was our original pass, so I went above the blue with my second color, and I'm going to go below my blue because the blue ended up directly on the center of that line, and if I go above it and below it, it just kind of centers up everything more nicely on our knot here. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the same thing. I'm going to follow that blue. I'm going to stay below it this time, and wherever it goes over, I'm going to go over. Wherever it goes under, I'm going to go under. And when we're done with that, we'll come back and show you what we've got. Okay, as you can see, we're just about done with the third pass of the coyote, and I wanted to stop right before I finish and just show you the importance of having a fit or lacing needle and how much easier it makes this entire process. What I do is once that lacing needle is hooked to my cord, is I just see how easy I slid that underneath those three cords. Without a lacing needle, that would have been incredibly difficult to do. You see I come to this is our last one here. And again, I just go underneath all three of those, pop that lacing needle through, pull the cord through, and boom, it just makes getting the cord through there without a lacing needle is just brutal. I highly recommend you use a lacing needle. I'm very partial, for obvious reasons, to the ones that we sell here in Jig Pro Shop. They've got I'm using a stainless steel needle here, and it's got a really long and tapered end on it, which makes it just ideal. I don't know if you can see that, but it just makes it ideal for doing this type of work. So there I've completed the last pass. You see all the way around, it's a very symmetrical looking knot. The next thing we need to do is just start pulling these pins out. The hard part basically is done. Now it's just a little bit of a monotonous job putting this on our core, which is going to be the mag light, and then tightening this knot up. Now slide this knot right off the mandrel. See that? It held its shape. Again, I'm using 550 ungutted paracord here. A lot of guys will use leather if they're making whips, or a smaller diameter cord with maybe some more passes, or you can even do a 1-inch marble. This is a 1-inch mandrel. You can do a 1-inch marble, and it'll come out looking something like that. And there's 2 passes. See, I've got 3 passes on here. The coyote, the dark blue, and the gray. And here I used all yellow. Same color all the way through, but only did 2 passes, and that's just a 1-inch diameter marble in the middle of that. So now that I've got this all put together, I'm going to slide our mag light into our knot. You see it's very loose. See, there's a lot of extra room. So now what we're going to do is start tightening down this knot. We're going to slowly go around at each strand and slowly pull the slack out of it until we can get it tight on this mini mag light. What I like to do when I'm starting with that is, you see my cord ends are a little bit longer. See, these three are the shorter ends. These are the longer ends. So what I like to do is I like to start on the pulling from the longer ones, so that when I get to the shorter ones, I can pull more slack out of here, and these will actually get longer as I pull the slack out of this knot. So what I'm going to do is, okay, I'm going to start with the gray. I like to do these in order. I'm going to start with the gray, then I'm going to tighten up the blue, and then I'm going to tighten up the coyote. So what I do is I like to go about halfway around a turn. I'm just going to pull a little tension on that blue. You see how I got a little slack out of there? See how there's a little slack in there? I'm just going to work all the way around this knot several times until I get to the ending point, the other end of this cord, which was the shorter length, and this knot is slowly going to tighten up as I do this. So when I'm done going all the way around with the blue, then I'll go around with either the coyote or the gray, and I'll do the same thing, just slowly taking. You don't want to try and tighten this all up in one shot. You want to, I'm probably going to go around this knot 3 or 4 times, tightening up on this mag light. If you do it all, try and do it all at once, it's just, your knot's going to get a little ugly on you. It's going to get hard to work with. Not necessarily ugly, but it will get hard to work with. So I'll come back when I'm done with the tightening this knot up, and we'll see what we've got. Okay, I'm now on the last pass of tightening up all these cords. I've actually gone around here. I'm on my 3rd pass now of pulling the slack out of these cords, and I just wanted to show you how important it is, and how much easier it is, I should say, to make these when you're using the right knots, or using the right tools. I'm sorry. This fid has the long taper tip, and it's blunted on the end, so it won't snag the cords and fray the cords. But you can see I can slip it underneath here and use it to pull the slack out of this cord. Every time I do this, it tightens this knot up a little bit more. So this is kind of monotonous. This is the most monotonous part of making one of these knots, is basically tighten it around whatever cord you're using. And I'm right at the very end now, so I'm going to grab the cord, pull that slack out, and there, basically, essentially, we're done. That's the finished product. I'm not going to bore you to death with, I'm sure there's hundreds of videos out there with how to cut these and melt the ends to keep them from fraying. But basically, there's the final knot. And I hope that this video successfully demonstrates just how easy these Easy Assist former Mandrels are to use. This is the 5 byte 1-inch Woggle, meaning this 1 inch in diameter. 5 bytes are the number of pins that it takes to go around the diameter of it. We're going to be offering all different diameters and different types of knot styles, so this is only one configuration of many that we're going to be offering. Now, this knot could have been completed using, this was 550 ungutted. You could easily have used tactical cord or a leather product, or we could have pulled the core, gutted this paracord by pulling the cores out of it and making this more of a flat knot. But these mag lights are just so thin that personally, I've got big hands, and this fits really well in my hand. It also gives me a little extra paracord to carry with me, out in the camp or whatever I might be doing. But there you have it. That's our this is our first of what's going to be many former Mandrels, the Easy Assist former Mandrels by Jig Pro Shop. There are going to be several styles and diameters available for just about every application you could possibly think of. Thank you for watching.